Well, a happy Friday to everybody. Hope you're all doing well and have had a good week. Today is a day that we're going to talk about crosswords. Have you ever had crosswords with anybody? Ever been angry, yelled at somebody? Said something you regretted later? But those aren't the kind of crosswords we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the kind that you find in newspapers and in books in the store. So we'll get to that in a minute, but first we have to do our shout-outs for this week. And our first shout-out, gotta pause. On Tuesday when I made the salsa chicken, I neglected to put up at the end of the video a picture of the finished product. So I'm going to do that right now. So right here. There, now you got to see what it looked like. So I hope you enjoyed that little dividend of seeing the cooked salsa chicken from last Tuesday. And if you didn't see that video, then hop on back to Tuesday and take a look at it. All right, now let's get on with our shout-outs for this week. Our first shout-out goes to Rainbow All About Life. And is a very talented and gifted embroiderist and craftsperson. And I don't do embroidery, but I enjoy watching her videos because it's amazing how she can take this blank piece of cloth. And sometimes she'll use a pattern, but a lot of times she just freehands. And she'll create these beautiful flowers or other patterns on the cloth using what they call embroidery silk and a needle and her imagination. So really worth checking it out. It's Rainbow All About Life. And our second channel we're shouting out today is, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be pronounced as one thing, but I think it's L.J. Mond. It's capital L, capital J, M-O-N-D. And it's a wonderful channel. If you have never been to the Netherlands, or even if you have, check out L.J. Mond, and you'll see some beautiful scenes of the Netherlands, both from walking tours and bicycle rides through the area. And very enjoyable, fun to watch. So check out L.J. Mond. So it's Rainbow All About Life and L.J. Mond. That's our shout-outs for today. Now let's get down to having some crosswords, shall we? Huh? All right. Well, ever wondered about the crossword puzzle, how it came into being? It hasn't been around that long, really. But let's have a look at the history behind it. As a child in Liverpool, England, during the Victorian era, Arthur Wynne played a word game called Magic Square, also known to some as Word Square, in which a list of words is given, and the solver had to arrange the words within a pattern of squares that read the word both vertically and horizontally. Wynne, who was a violinist turned journalist, came to America and started working at the New York World in December of 1913. When his editor asked if he could create a word game for the Sunday's entertainment section, remembering Magic Square, or Word Square, Wynne created a diamond-shaped grid, but instead of listing words to use, he added the extra challenge of giving clues. He called his game Word Cross. Soon he began making the grids in different shapes and patterns, adding black squares to separate words. It said a typographical error was behind the switch from word cross to crossword. Then eventually the hyphen was removed and the fad took off. Within a decade, more and more newspapers picked up the puzzle for their readers. Librarians complained that the crossword fans were hogging their dictionaries. A compilation of past New York World puzzles was put together, and the first crossword puzzle book was published in 1924 by Simon & Schuster. However, not everyone was a fan. The New York Times published a scathing column bashing the new craze, calling it a sinful waste. But 6 years later, they changed their tune and published their first crossword in 1930. Crossword puzzles became a mainstay in many newspapers, especially during World War II, when publishers wanted to insert a bit of fun along with the otherwise tragic news stories. But crossword puzzles also played another major role in World War II. Famously depicted in the 2014 Benedict Cumberbatch movie The Imitation Game, a competition in 1914 to solve the Daily Telegraph crossword puzzle in under 12 minutes was held in London. Those who were able to beat the clock were sent a summons a few weeks after the competition requesting they report to Bletchley Park. The real reason the competition was to find minds adept at solving intricate puzzles, which the military thought could be useful cracking Nazi codes. Those who served in this capacity have since said that the skills needed to solve crossword puzzles didn't lend themselves that much to understanding the German language. By the 1950s, the crossword puzzle became a daily part of newspapers. Meanwhile, across the pond, where Wynne had originally played his word games as a child, another form of crossword became equally popular. It was based more on wordplay and ambiguity in its clues. Lyricist Stephen Sondheim published a version of this in the New York Magazine in 1968. The first American crossword puzzle tournament was held in 1978, and it still continues today, with folks from all over competing to solve crossword puzzles the fastest. Quite possibly the most notable name in crossword puzzles is Will Shortz, who is the fourth editor of the New York Times crossword puzzle. Though his name appears on the puzzles, he is not always the creator. As technology progresses and newspapers wane in popularity, the crossword puzzle has been brought to the digital world with web-based games and apps for smartphones, although nothing will ever feel the same as solving a crossword puzzle on paper with a pen. Even though crossword puzzles were used in England to find decoders for the war effort, they were banned in Paris at the same time out of fear that they would be used as a means of relaying secret messages to the enemy. So there you have the story of the crossword puzzle. So like I say, it really hasn't been around a lot of time, a little over 100 years. But the game that it came out of, the Magic Square or Word Square, don't know the origin of that, and it's sort of like lost in the mists of history. Alrighty, it's time for the Groaner of the Week. A plane took off from Gatwick, England, heading to New York. And after it had been in the air for a few hours, the pilot came on the intercom and said, "Not to alarm anyone, but I feel it's only fair to inform all of you as passengers on this plane that for the last hour and a half we have been flying without instrumentation due to a complication and a problem in the computer on board. We have no compass, we have no false horizon, we have no trajectory beam, nothing. We are flying by the seat of our pants. The bad side of this is we have no idea where we're going. We're lost. But the good news is we're making excellent time." There you go. There's your groaner for the week. Alrighty, everybody. Until Tuesday, when we come up with something else to do in the kitchen, have some fun and tantalize our taste buds. Have a fantastic weekend, and take care, stay safe, and God bless. Plane took off from Gatwick Airport in England, flying to New York. And after the plane had been in the hour for a couple of